Episode 2: The Transferred Pharmacist in a Dark Age of Medicine and Pharmacy. What in the world is this place? How do things work here? Pharma pulled his head back from the window, realizing with a jolt that this might indeed be another world with different laws of physics. And is this ability only for water? He stared at his small hands, which didn't feel like his own. He could create water just by concentrating and picturing its chemical formula. If I can materialize things with an image, maybe I can create other compounds too. This time, he carefully controlled the flow of power, sending an image into a silver cup. The cup instantly turned black. It was proof of a sulfide reaction with the silver. It works! Oh, crap. It turned black. He'd be causing trouble for Lot if he stained their precious dishes. In a worst-case scenario, she might even be accused of poisoning someone. Disappear, disappear. He unconsciously grabbed the hem of his clothes and began to rub the cup, muttering the words without thinking. Then the sulfide in the cup vanished and the silver's luster returned. It wasn't because he was polishing it. The tarnish just disappeared on its own. I can create and erase matter? After creating and erasing sulfides several times, he had no choice but to conclude this. Next, he created sugar and tasted it. It was sweet. He made salt. It was salty. A lump of iron tasted like iron. A gold nugget left a tooth mark. He tried many other things. The amount of matter he could create was proportional to the amount of mental energy he put into the image. Compounds with unclear or overly complex structures couldn't be materialized. He could erase what he created with his left hand by willing it with his right hand. His left hand was for creation, his right for erasure. He could even erase things he hadn't created, as long as he knew their elemental composition. This is amazing. He didn't understand the principle behind it, but he was certain he possessed both matter creation and matter erasure abilities. I'm like an alchemist. This is an ability I'd love to take back to Japan. If I could use this ability in Japan, my research would have advanced so much. This research, that research. Oh, and what about that one? Even now, he was a workaholic with a ton of regrets from his past life. I can't go back, can I? I can't. He had to give up on the idea. No matter how much he yearned for it, he couldn't return to Earth. I'll just forget about my old life and move on. He finally made up his mind. I'm so glad. Now I can rest easy. Lot rushed back into the room and changed the bedsheets. It seemed to be her job to take care of Pharma's personal needs. Beds in this world were simple, even in noble households. Just hay laid in a box with a sheet on top. When Pharma offered to help her with the sheet, Lot was surprised. Please don't help, it's my job. Oh, really? Sorry, thank you. But she replied with, thank you, sir, never forgetting her manners. I'm so happy for you, Lord Pharma. Your divine power has returned. You'll remember everything bit by bit. Lot hummed a tune to cheer him up as she put Pharma's laundry into a drawer. She had a lovely singing voice. I was a fool to even think for a second about what I would do if Lord Pharma's divine power never came back. Speaking of which, what is your family's business? Lot stopped what she was doing, straightened her back, and said proudly, the de Medicis family are court pharmacists. A family of pharmacists. He had the ability to materialize matter, and even if the laws of physics was different here, he still had his knowledge of science and pharmacology. Good. I won't have to worry about starving. He was relieved for the time being. After that, with the help of the servant girl Lot, Pharma focused on understanding his current situation. The more Lot explained about this world, the more he felt like it feels a lot like France. The language, culture, and clothing were all reminiscent of medieval France. Lot, whose full name was Charlotte, was the daughter of Catherine, a high-ranking servant, a maid. They were commoners. Her mother was Pharma's caretaker, and Lot accompanied her mother when she came to Pharma's room. She had been working at the mansion since she was 5 and was now 9. Perhaps due to her long history as a servant, she was mature for her age. She used polite language, and every one of her movements had a certain grace. Even so, Pharma asked her, Between us, are you being forced to work? Are you being overworked or hit when I'm not around? What kind of food do you eat? Lot pursed her lips. What are you talking about? My master provides me with a good life. Don't you want to be free? Don't you want to go to school? That's very kind of you, but I'm being taught to read and write here, and I have my days off. I'm satisfied. Pharma had imagined that servants were akin to slaves, but it seemed they were in a well-treated employer-employee relationship, and both mother and daughter were working there willingly. They were provided with food, clothing, and shelter in addition to a salary. The work wasn't heavy, and they didn't mind working at the mansion. Since they weren't slaves, they were free to leave the mansion whenever they wished to. Then it's fine. Yes, please continue to count on me. I'd be in trouble if I were kicked out of the mansion. He learned that there were nearly 100 servants working inside and outside the mansion, led by the butler. The mansion was made entirely of stone and was U-shaped, a style similar to the transitional Baroque period. The mansion was old and had a sense of history.
By the way, can you tell me about the house? I'd be happy to. Pharma asked Lotte about the layout of the mansion. The building was 3 stories with a basement warehouse and an attic. The grounds were as large as a small castle. The first floor had the entrance hall, reception rooms, a grand hall, and the dining room. The second floor housed the parents' and children's rooms, as well as his father's study and office. So Pharma's room was on the second floor, facing the courtyard. The third floor held the rooms for the steward and butler, a library, storage rooms, and a medicinal herb repository. The servants lived in the attic. The mansion was so big and there were so many rooms that were never used that Lotte hadn't even been in all of them. This is definitely a noble house. Yes, it's a mansion to be proud of. It's over 200 years old. Lotte answered everything with a cheerful, innocent brightness. Can I ask you some questions about me? If I know the answers. My name, Pharma, pharmaceutical, de medicis, pharmacist. Don't you think it's a bit much? The emphasis on medicine is a bit too much. Pharma felt a little embarrassed. Lord Brother's name is Pallet, you know. It shows how much your master expects from you, both Lord Pallet and Lord Pharma. Pallet seemed to mean a medicinal pill. There was someone even more unfortunate than me. Pharma felt a bit put off by his father's strong obsession with pharmacy. Your master will be back at the mansion tonight, Lord Pharma, and you'll be joining him for dinner. Oh, what's wrong? Why oh? Lotte seemed flustered, so Pharma braced himself. Could it be that you've forgotten all your knowledge of pharmacy? I think so. That's bad. That's very, very bad. Pharma felt a sense of urgency after Lotte's warning. He began to take the books from the bookshelf in his room one by one, skimming through them. According to Lotte, books in this world were all handwritten by scribes, so medical and pharmaceutical books were very expensive. Yet the fact that there were thick personal books lined up on the bookshelf for him, the second son, meant that the family must be quite wealthy. Your master often gives Lord Pharma pop quizzes on pharmacy, so be careful. The young Pharma, before he was taken over, had apparently received an elite education as a pharmacist from a young age. Lotte testified that he should have memorized all the medicines in these books and could recite their formulas by heart. This was a major problem. He panicked thinking he had to cram and memorize everything immediately, but he didn't need to. I feel like I've seen this before. I'm starting to remember. Perhaps due to the accumulation of knowledge from the young Pharma, he could read the medical and pharmaceutical books and vaguely recall their contents. Even so, this is... Is it difficult? It looks difficult. Lotte shivered with a look of horror. She found books that were densely filled with text to be intimidating. She was also a little smitten with how seriously Pharma read these complicated books. Unaware of her feelings, Pharma thought to himself, "This is awful." What he saw in the various books he picked up was, to put it bluntly, horrifying. They contained incorrect treatments and surgical procedures, and recipes for drugs that were full of toxins. There were also plenty of methods for praying to the gods, which Pharma didn't consider medicine at all, ways to interpret the stars that govern illness, and numerology. If this weren't a world with something called divine power, it would all be pure sorcery. And yet, this is what passed for medicine. In this world, the fundamental belief is that illness is a trial given by the gods, and medicine, pharmacy, and religion were closely intertwined with astrology. People relied on prayers and were swayed by the movements of the stars. When a patient died from a treatment, doctors and pharmacists would blame it on divine punishment and took no responsibility. But wait, do these treatments actually work on people from this world? Do they have different body structures from Earthlings? And is divine power effective for treatment? He used that speculation to calculate the actual cure rate from the case reports, and it was quite low, no different from the level of Middle Age Earth. This isn't working at all. The medical and pharmaceutical knowledge of this world was abysmal. It wasn't as if occult medicine had a high cure rate. It was the exact opposite. Pharma shuddered at the thought that everyone was so devoted to this kind of suspicious, pseudo-magical folk medicine. This world's medicine is in the Dark Age. He felt frustrated thinking that even healthy people would probably die from these treatments. Lord Pharma, aren't your eyes tired? Why don't you take a break? I'll make you some tea. In a little bit. Lotte had been watching him quietly, not interrupting as he devoured the books for hours on end. She dotingly brought him a snack and said, "You're so dedicated to your studies, Lord Pharma. You look so wonderful." She gazed at him with admiration. In the dimly lit room, Pharma closed his book. I have to do something about this for the people of this world. Perhaps, he thought, this was why he was reincarnated here with his knowledge from his past life.